In the first 2 months of his second term, President Trump has already been hit with more federal court injunctions than Joe Biden did in his 4 years, or Barack Obama in his 8 years in the White House. Some of the latest instances include a federal judge who blocked the president's executive order banning transgenders from the military. Another judge this week blocked DOJ from making further cuts to USAID, claiming the dismantling of the agency is unconstitutional. And of course, there's U.S. District Judge James Boasberg, who's trying to block the administration from deporting illegal alien members of the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua and ordered for them to be returned to the United States. President Trump was asked about that today in the Oval Office.
These are the worst gang members there are. They looked amazingly frail, though, by the way they were handled. It's very amazing. You know, they weren't, when they were in Colorado cutting the fingers off a man because he made a phone call to the police, they seemed a lot tougher then than they did when they were having their heads shaved and they were in shackles. They're tough people. They're bad people. We don't want them in our country. We can't let a judge say that he wants them. You know, he didn't run for president. He didn't get much more than 80 million votes. And we just can't let that happen. I won the election based at least partly on that, and that's a big part.
Yesterday on Truth Social, the president wrote, unlawful nationwide injunctions by radical left judges could very well lead to the destruction of our country. These people are lunatics who do not care even a little bit about the repercussions from their very dangerous and incorrect decisions and rulings. Trump called on the Supreme Court to reverse these injunctions, writing, if Justice Roberts and the United States Supreme Court do not fix this toxic and unprecedented situation immediately, our country is in very serious trouble. Rob, I want to start with you because there is obviously this tension between the judiciary branch and the executive branch. But the reality is that these leftist activist judges, they're constantly, I mean, it is like an obsession of going after Donald Trump's executive orders.
It absolutely is. Well, first of all, let's start. There are over 120 lawsuits that have been filed against Trump. So there's an activist left-wing coalition that is trying to judge shop and make sure that they're in the right venues where they're filing these cases. And then secondly, Mercy, you nailed it, and Trump said it there in the statement, it's these nationwide universal injunctions that a single federal district court judge is imposing on the entire country, well beyond what they should be able to do. And this is why I think it is critically important that the Supreme Court step in here. And one final point, you know, on all of these issues, Trump is correct. I mean, the voters gave him the mandate to carry out the policies that he's implementing. The fact that he can't, as the chief executive of our country, fire employees who work for his branch of government because some judge says so is just, I think, you know, for more Americans, something that they can't understand. And what business or corporate executive or business owner wouldn't have that authority? Right.
Well, calling these district court judges out of control, Missouri Senator Josh Hawley is now calling on Congress to roll back on the nationwide injunction and said he will introduce legislation to cut back on injunctions. So I got to ask you here, Tiana, this is a critical point as well, which is the fact that Congress does have a role in all of this, because I do believe that if you put these executive orders, for example, in the budget reconciliation, it does give the executive branch, you know, a little more power to, you know, basically deal with these judges.
And this is why those of us in Team One Big Beautiful Bill have been saying part of the reason why you need one is because in order to force Congress to get to eat their broccoli, you got to also give them some dessert. And it's easy dessert to say, okay, we're also abolishing the education department, which is not up for a line item veto by the executive, at least when it comes to the department's existence itself, right? You can defund a lot of it, but I digress. To the credit of the left, I will say, part of the reason why you're seeing the sheer volume of the lawsuits being brought is because Trump has done more executive orders in this time in his presidency than even FDR, right? So there has been a push that he, of course, is following the precedent set by Biden, who just outright ignored when the Supreme Court said you can't just cancel, you know, $500 billion in student loan debt, and he just went forward anyway to do it.
That's not what happened.
Okay, Jason, you'll have your.
Okay.
My point is that for a lot of these executive orders, it is incredibly dumb that these local district judges can do nationwide injunctions. We all know that's words I can't say on TV. But the real key here is get Congress to actually do their job.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.